What's up, creature designers? Here's a little exercise in using some random texture images to come up with a creative idea. First thing to do, take your images, copy them into Photoshop on different layers, resize and scale, adjust the blending modes, desaturate the images, and then the process begins by deleting parts of each of the layers until you start to see an abstract shape. In red, I've highlighted what I'm seeing. I see some kind of a head shape. I saw the turtle eye, so I highlighted that. I like the back of the head, the nose. Now, there was no nostril area in the images or the textures we were using, so I decided to invent that part. I refined it by painting in blue, and now I'm refining again by going over in lines. You're not committed to the lines you draw, so feel free to change as you want. A little bit of creature anatomy helps at this point, but ultimately we're using the background images to help drive the concept. Using a light colour, we start to work on where our light is going to hit our forms. The high points get some light, the low points get some dark. So we're bouncing between light and dark at this point. We get slightly stronger in contrast, using light to bring the forms closer to us and dark to push them away. We're blending the background to make our concept stand out a little bit more. And we carry on refining the design. Areas where you like and you want to keep, you can emphasize them by making a stronger contrast between the edges. That way we're not relying on the line drawing to bring the creature to life. You'll see the little circle pop up quite often. That's pressing the I key for the colour picker, and we're sampling from the tones which we already have in the image. Now a little bit later on we'll be adjusting the levels to give us more contrast and a greater tonal range. It's good to bear in mind the underlying structure when shading. Areas where you perceive there to be a bony structure should be darkened at the point where they go into shadow and lightened where they leave it. That gives us a natural divider between the two. So here we're just adding a bit of noise to the image, a little bit of liquefy to change some of the shapes slightly. I think the overall concept is there, so we're sticking with that. We're just changing some of the silhouette. Brushes are not important really. Hard round, soft round, chalk brush, and a couple of textures. The important part is establishing the values, separating the forms, and unifying the design. So at this point, pretty much committed to this design. It's being digital, it's still open for change, but I kind of like where it's going. No real backstory, just something that was spotted in the random shapes. Tidy up the edges, trying to separate the character from the background. I start in black and white, by the way, because it helps bring the form together without getting distracted by colour. And being digital, colour is almost a secondary choice you can make. Just pushing the background back a bit, creating a separation between the back of the character and the background. If you want to separate an edge, wherever it meets another colour, or in this case another shade of grey, if it's a light edge, put a dark background behind it. If it's a dark edge, put a light background behind it. So at this point, we're just going in, adding a few more shades of grey, zoomed out, just to keep the tendency away from spending too long trying to draw wrinkles and lines and curves. Chalk brush, where the light is going to hit the forms, there's going to be a little bit of texture, and the chalk brush just adds a little bit to it. You'll notice I use blending modes a lot. I use overlay, colour mode and multiply most of the time. Soft light is useful in grayscale painting because it will strengthen the lights and the darks and push the contrast slightly more. So here, don't really have an idea of colour, so I use the variations technique to give me some random colours. I do it a couple of times on different layers. Delete through one to show the other. And here I'm using an overlay mode and picking some colours. I'm kind of thinking the sensitive parts of the creature, like the tentacles, the nostril and the eyes, are going to be slightly warmer because they have some kind of blood flow going to them. And areas which are mainly skin stretched over bone, I've put like a greeny sort of yellow colour. Just working on the eye to bring it forward a little bit. I think if I did it again, I'd change the eye. Just noodling at this point, pretty much no more ideas on where to go or what to do to it, so pretty much going to wrap it up at this point. Hope you enjoyed it. If you got any questions or any ideas, please add them to the comments, and thank you for your time.